Chapter 14, Water.
Introduction. How do you start your day? Does your mother ask you to wake up and wash your face, brush your teeth, drink milk, take bath and have breakfast? Which of these tasks can be done without water? Why is water so important to us? Water is the magical substance which is present in every living being. Approximately 70% of the body weight of humans is water. Our bodies have evolved in such a way that we cannot survive long without water.
How much water is there around us? 3/4 of the Earth's crust is covered with water in the form of oceans and seas. This makes about 97% of all water on Earth. However, all this water is very salty due to large quantities of minerals dissolved in it, hence unsuitable for human use. Just 3% of water on Earth is fresh water that we can use. Out of this 3% only 0.003% is available as water that can be used by us. Rest of 0.297% is locked up in glaciers and snow-capped mountains and deep under the Earth's crust. Can you imagine that the entire world's population derives water from the fraction of this 0.003%? Why is water important? As mentioned earlier, water is necessary for most activities of life. The cells of all living organisms contain different substances mixed in water. Our body needs a specific amount of water to carry out all its functions. In a day, we need about 8 glasses of water. Plants need water for photosynthesis, so without water, they will not be able to grow. In general, we need water for many purposes. Agriculture. Large amounts of water is used in farming. Different crops need different amounts of water. Industries. Almost all types of industries need water. Water is used as a raw material or a medium to wash, heat, and cool substances. Energy. Water is needed in large amounts to generate electricity. For this purpose, structures called dams are created on rivers to control the flow of water. Human use. We use water for many purposes. For our routine activities like bathing, washing and cooking, for entertainment in the form of water parks, and for transportation. From where do we get so much water? The sources of fresh water available to us are rivers, lakes, ponds and groundwater. Water is transported from these sources to various places through a network of pipelines. This water is cleaned by different processes before it is used by us. Much of this water is used by farmers for irrigation. A part of this water is used by the industries. A small fraction of about 8% is used by people for consumption. The water we use for drinking and cooking is called potable water. It is made clean and safe by filtering it and by treating it with adequate chemical substances to kill harmful microorganisms. In countries like India,
monsoon is a major source of water for agricultural purposes. In places where pipelines do not reach, people extract water from the water table below the ground. This is done by digging wells and by hand and machine pumps. However, continuous use of groundwater lowers the water table, and after some years, the wells and pumps dry up. We do not use ocean water for the above purposes because it is very salty. However, oceans are home to a large number of plants and animals. We also use oceans to transport heavy materials and oil from one country to another. In some Middle East countries, sea water is converted into fresh water by removing salt from it. However, this process is very expensive and requires a lot of energy. What is special about water? The properties of water are unique. Water is the only substance that we can use in all three states: solid, liquid and gas. Water can dissolve a large number of substances in it. That is why it is important for carrying out the body functions. That also makes it an important industrial requirement. In fact, water is known as the wonder liquid.
Why does water never finish? The total amount of water on the earth remains almost constant. It gets circulated through the water cycle. Let us recall how the water cycle works. Evaporation. Evaporation is a property of all liquids to change into vapor by taking heat from the air. Water in the open water bodies such as oceans, rivers, lakes, ponds and waterfalls evaporates continuously. The water present on the surface comes into contact with the air and absorbs heat from it to change into its gas form. This process becomes faster in the presence of the sun.
Can you guess the reason?
A lot of water vapor is released into the air by leaves of green plants through the process of transpiration. For example, about 500 liters of water vapor is transpired by wheat plants that produce 1 kilogram wheat grains. So you can imagine plants are a great contributor in the water cycle. Condensation. All this water vapor rises up with the hot air. As it moves up, it becomes colder as the temperature decreases. When it loses sufficient heat, it condenses into tiny droplets of water. These droplets move together in the air, and we see them as clouds. Precipitation. While moving in the air, the droplets of water keep colliding and forming big drops. When these drops become heavy enough, they fall down in the form of rain or snow. Sometimes they fall down as hail. The rainwater again flows back to rivers and oceans. Some of it seeps into the ground and replenishes the water table. This movement of water from the water bodies to clouds and then back as rain is called the water cycle. Is the rainfall always same?
The amount of rainfall varies from place to place. In some places, it rains round the year, while others get rainfall only for a few days. Our country depends heavily on the monsoon for our agricultural needs. A normal rainfall is a relief for the farmers and the government as it ensures good crops.
However, too much or too little rain destroys the crops, ruining the farmers and making food scarce for people. Drought. When it does not rain in a place for more than a year or there is too little rainfall, the place is said to be under drought. The soil becomes cracked, the water table goes down, and the wells and tube wells dry up. Farmers are not able to grow any crops for shortage of water. People do not get enough water for their personal needs. Animals die due to shortage of water. This affects the economy of the country. Flood. Sometimes there is excessive rainfall in a region. This leads to the rise in the level of rivers. Water gets accumulated in surrounding areas. Villages, forests and fields go underwater, causing loss of life and resources. Animals living in water get washed away and die. It also leads to lot of soil erosion and the top fertile layer of soil is washed away. It also leads to the spread of many diseases caused by the decaying bodies of dead rodents and other animals.
Will we always have enough water? Water is one of our most precious resources. Sadly, we do not appreciate this and waste a lot of water. The fraction of fresh water available to us is very less. However, with growing number of people, the demand for water is increasing every day. The shortage of water is already being felt in many places in the world. You can see people on the roadside waiting in a queue to get their supply of water. Hence, saving every drop of water is of utmost importance today. You should try to conserve water by recycling it. Use just enough water to do a task. You should adopt bucket bath rather than shower bath. Do not wash anything under running water. Instead, use a bucket to wash. Tell your friends and neighbors to conserve water. Rainwater harvesting. Rainwater harvesting refers to collecting the rainwater and storing it for future use. Normally, all the rainwater ends up in drains and is not of any use for us. This rainwater can be recollected and stored to meet our needs. The water from the roofs of houses can be collected through pipes and stored in an underground tank. This water needs to be filtered before use as it may contain sand or pebbles from the roof. Alternatively, the rainwater can be stored in underground natural pits from where it can seep into the ground. This water then helps to increase the water table. What's wrong with our water?
The fresh water is becoming contaminated with harmful substances. This is called water pollution. The cause of water pollution is human activities. The domestic sewage and the industrial waste are collected through drains which go into the rivers and contaminate the water. The oceans are polluted by the waste matter from ships and oil spills. These pollutants are chemicals and harmful microbes. These kill the water organisms. Polluted water is unfit for consumption as it can cause serious diseases.